right, welcome to Starting Five here on the Five Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick and at Five Reasons Sports. Our producer today is Manny Chang. Our sponsors are All Pro Construction Builders. You can find them at allproconstructionbuilders.com. Our guy Danny, reach out to him, based in Miami area, but services Dade County, not just Dade County, but also Monroe County and Broward County. Why would you call Danny? First, he's a good dude, but also you need the storm windows. We know that the named storms are coming. 305-484-4429, 305-484-4429. The storms are coming in South Florida. Don't you want to make sure that you're prepared to get the storm windows, get the storm doors, but also you can do renovations in your house as well, and all kinds of other stuff. Fully licensed building contractor. Reach out, mention Five Reasons, and you get a discount on your overall order. So check them out at allproconstructionbuilders.com. Again, that's allproconstructionbuilders.com. We're also sponsored by our friend Mark Dela Cruz and his crew over at U-Brake Wheel Fix. That's ubrakewheelfix.com, 305-748-0112. Streets of South Florida. They can do some damage to your wheels. They can do the repairs, but also maybe you just want to make them look nice. They can do the refinishing, the polishing, all that kind of stuff. They can get you all the custom colors too. If you want the heat colors, dolphin colors, panther colors, hurricane colors, they can handle that for you. Mark says he's been getting into hockey lately as well. Mention Five Reasons there too for a discount. We do that kind of thing with a lot of our sponsors. Reach out to ubrakewheelfix.com. That's with the U at the front, ubrakewheelfix.com. Check out all the cool colors that they've got there and everything that they can do to make your wheels look nice and run right. 305-748-0112. Well, not running right, the Miami Heat last night. 9-point lead in the second half. Blew it. Like the Celtics says, don't let us win one. This comes in from Alan. Kyle Lowry's back. Not the best performance from Kyle Lowry last night. That's to put it mildly. Bam Adebayo didn't do a whole bunch of scoring. And Jimmy Butler, even though he had a nice stat line, really did not have the kind of energy we've seen from playoff Jimmy. I thought that set the tone in this game. He was a little bit kind of slow. And they're at the point now where, they need that all the time from him. They need him to be aggressive and impactful throughout because they play off of him. And it didn't really happen last night until it was kind of too late. They gave up that huge third quarter run, and then Jimmy started to get going a little bit. But at that point, they were kind of out of sync. And you could just see once Boston started to make some shots that the confidence flew from, the confidence grew basically for them. And Miami just never was able to recover. Caleb Martin was unbelievable in the first half. And then, look, he's due for one of these. He had kind of a bad third quarter too, like everybody else did. Missed some shots and had a turnover and was not his best performance in the second half either. After, again, he was perfect from the field in the first half. So look, there's going to be a lot of overreaction to this because this is what we do in playoff series. And here's just what I would say. If you knew that you're going to be going back to Boston before everybody got ahead of themselves and started talking about the Denver matchup, I apologize for that. Others in our network should probably apologize for that too, for looking ahead. But before we started to do that, if you had said before the series, I know it's a trite line, but if you had said before the series that you would be up 3-1 going to Boston for a Game 5, everybody in Heat Nation would have taken that, right? So, that's where you are, okay? And look, you're 8-point underdogs now. So, better edge than everywhere else. The bookmakers made a mistake. They made the Heat favorites for the first time. And they squandered it. They were 1.5-point favorites yesterday. So now we're right back to where we were, where the Heat are 8-point underdogs. And now we're right back to, can Boston do this? And we know that there's going to be a lot of talk about what happened way back when with the Red Sox in that town where they were down 3-0. And that's where that line, don't let us win one, comes from. And then, of course, they won 4 straight against the Yankees in the American League Championship Series. And ended up winning World Series. So this is the narrative that's going to be pushed in Boston now. And now everybody is going to start getting on the players who didn't play particularly well in this last game. Again, starting with Kyle. And then, also you look at the way that Bam played and some of the others played as well. Nando says Jimmy receiving the Larry Bird Trophy in Boston is much more sweeter. I don't know if Jimmy will even accept that award. If I just go straight to the locker room. And this comes from Eternal. I don't understand not playing Jimmy the entire fourth with what was at stake. I actually agree with that. Eternal, you and I agree for a change. No, we agree a lot, actually. But I didn't really understand either. I put on our off-the-floor feed beforehand, okay, is Jimmy going to start the fourth? That'll tell you what they think of this game, and Jimmy didn't start the fourth. So, look, the no Bam, no Jimmy minutes, I actually thought Cody Zeller was pretty good in his minutes last night. I'm still surprised we haven't seen Highsmith in this series. Duncan didn't make quite the same impact that he had made in the previous couple of games. Gabe was considerably better than Kyle was last night. That has kind of flip-flopped at times during the playoffs, but it seems to be better Gabe lately than Kyle. So that's why he's getting the lion's share of the minutes. It was a lack of concentration, a lack of focus, and they just haven't been hitting the mouth in a while. And they didn't react very well to it. So Caleb said after the game that this is kind of what we need, and I feel like Heat fans don't need it. But again, I'm going to take you back to that place. If you were 3-1 up going into Boston, which is what you are, if we told you this before the series, you would have absolutely taken it. And there was nothing that Boston did last night that makes me think, okay, this is going to be sustainable where they're going to roll off 4 straight against Miami. Might they win this game 5? Yes. Okay. And then the noise is going to get louder. And then the Heat are going to start to get tight a little bit in game 6 because now all of a sudden you're on the verge of a historic collapse. Okay. If you drop that game 6 and then you need to go up to game 7. So look, there's no question that this makes things harder. Of course it does. There's no question that if you do want to get to the finals, that it would have been ideal to get Jimmy some rest before you play against what is going to be an extremely rested and very loaded Denver team on the other side. And you're going to have to deal with the altitude change whenever you get out there, which is not easy. That game 1 could be a total mess, okay, in the finals. But you just got to get there first. And again, I don't see anything that happened last night that makes me think, okay, they're screwed. I mean, I really don't. Like, Jalen was a little better, okay. I mean, Tatum had moments for sure where he looked like the Tatum that we were kind of worried about. But even if you look at the role guys, like Smart's still not shooting the ball well. Brogdon is still not impactful. Grant Williams gave them decent minutes last night. Okay, I mean, I still don't understand why he doesn't play more, honestly, because I do think he gives them some energy they don't get from some other guys. But I don't think Mazzulla's figured anything out. I don't think Spo has gotten stupid, okay? I didn't agree with everything he did last night. Again, I didn't agree with Jimmy not playing more minutes in the fourth quarter. And I did think he stuck with Kyle a little bit too long when it was obvious that Kyle didn't have it. Right? And that's a couple straight games now that Kyle hasn't had it. But you don't have a lot of other solutions. I mean, people are going to start talking about Tyler Herro again the longer that this goes. But I think you can see from all the conflicting reports we're getting that nobody really knows where that's at. I mean, we know he's been cleared to do certain things. We told you that would be the case, that he was ahead of schedule medically. That was correct. That's why he's back out there, okay? The Heat really didn't want that out there at the time. But I've also heard similar things to what Anthony Chang has reported that just don't count on him. And that goes beyond the medical. It goes beyond whether or not he's going to be comfortable out there with his, shooting hand coming back from injury. And how that's going to look, and then again, how that's going to work with some of the other guys and not wanting to screw things up and all the rest of this. Now, if they're 3-3 in this series, then there's going to be a louder drumbeat. Well, can Tyler give you something in a game 7? Can he give you 8 to 10 minutes? To me, that would be too risky. You have, no matter what his status is, he has to be shelved till the finals, at least. Okay. You can't insert him in this series at this point. That's the way that I view it. But anyway, I still believe now that they're going to win this series. This comes in Bam needs to attack more. Should be able to attack both the bigs. I agree. I actually thought he tried a little bit in the first half. There were a couple of times he had the ball. Like, I didn't feel he was super non-aggressive last night. There are certain games where I'm like, oh, God, come on, Bam. Just look at the damn basket. I don't really think he got the ball in spots to do a lot. And when he did, like, there was a couple sequences in the first half. He got the ball near the free throw line, and he was swarmed. Like, they made a point not to let him get into rhythm last night. I thought that in the first stint. Even when they were playing well, they came back. Boston had that initial surge. Miami kind of got back into it, took the 7-point lead. Even during that, I didn't feel like Bam was comfortable. It looked like the other starters got comfortable. Love got comfortable early. Gabe got comfortable early. Jimmy, again, a little bit passive for him, but it didn't look like he was having trouble getting to his spots. And Strus looked like, there were opportunities for Strus, I thought also. Bam was a little bit, I don't know, they made him a priority last night. So, again, that's another adjustment. And then he got a little bit of foul trouble. And look, it was a Scott Foster game, but that's not the reason they lost. I mean, this is one of those where it's correlation but not causation. Save Tyler for a potential trade in the offseason. I mean, you're not saving Tyler to trade him. You're trying to win a championship. So the Tyler thing will come down to really 2 things. Well, 3 things. Is he medically healthy enough? And it looks like he's on the track to doing that. Okay. That's the first thing. But then beyond, is he medically healthy enough? Is he confident in it? And is he okay with not looking perfect out there? And that's a psychological thing that he's got to get through. And then, but then the third thing is, how is he going to fit with this group at this point? Lenny, we just addressed this. Is there any reason as to why Spo sat Jimmy in the fourth quarter close that game? I don't know. I wasn't in the Spo presser last night. I was actually over in the Heat locker room. I think Brady was or Alex was in the Heat presser last night. So I'm not sure if he was asked that question. But I thought it was curious. I said at the time, this isn't a second guess. I mean, you're trying to win this thing now, get him back out there and close it out. They both thought, I guess, he could get away with a few minutes there. But I really think, Jimmy's got to be in that 42 to 43 minute range now consistently. I think he fell under that last night. So Jimmy and Bam. Now, Bam's was affected somewhat by the foul trouble. So that was one thing. And, it just didn't seem like he got a rhythm. But with Jimmy, yeah, I mean, and would it have mattered? I'm not sure. I mean, as we were watching in that third and fourth quarter, I was sitting next to Anthony Chang and talking to some others. We're like, they just don't have it tonight. You just know there were certain regular season games where like they just don't have it. Like Jimmy doesn't have it. Like, yes, there have been moments, but he just doesn't have it tonight. Bam just doesn't have it tonight. Kyle certainly didn't have it. You have like those three guys kind of playing below what you've expected in the playoffs. You're not really going to win that way even at home. Spencer from Allen, even post-game supposed to no worried. I think he was experimenting this game. Didn't play Duncan when he and Bam were cooking. I think it's too much to say he was experimenting. I just think that I think it's what I'm saying here. I don't think that the Celtics did anything to them that creates alarms for them. I don't think that there was something in there that were like, okay, this is something we're not going to be able to handle. There really wasn't much new that Boston did. Some of their guys played better. That's really it. I mean, particularly, I guess Brown, Tatum to a certain degree. Again, Grant Williams gave him something. It was more that. I don't think it was Missoula threw some wrinkle out that Spo doesn't think he can react to. Nobody on the Heat got hurt. Okay, so there's nobody. They don't have to deal with a rotation change going into the next game. They just got to deal with a flight, play a game that they didn't really want to play. And yeah, it could get ugly in the next game. And if it's ugly, because Boston's due for one of those, okay, to finally play better at home. They're under 500 at home in the playoffs. If it gets ugly, then yeah, people are going to start to panic here. We know that. This comes in from Jordan. Would you play Highsmith over Zeller? I would have from the beginning of the series. And it's nothing against Cody, who I actually thought played better minutes last night. I just think Highsmith's defense against Tatum and Brown, particularly Tatum, was something that I thought Spoelstra would want to look at again because I thought it worked really well. The numbers suggest it worked really well during limited minutes in the regular season. So I'm surprised that Haywood hasn't gotten an opportunity. I guess maybe it's just an overall rebounding thing, although Highsmith, they rebound pretty well when Highsmith's in the game. So it's kind of, and he asked Spo that question. He's not in the public. He's not going to give you a real answer anyway. But I'm surprised at that. And again, I don't think it's an indictment of Cody, who I thought was okay last night. It's just that I thought Highsmith would give him a different look. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see it. Look, Spoelstra tried something. He tried the zone yesterday. And, when he went to it, we're like, okay, there it is. And then Tatum came back into the game and got into the teeth of the zone 2 straight times. And it's like, okay, that's not going to work tonight either. So it's just sometimes you try things and they don't work. And we'll see if he uses another wrinkle with Highsmith coming up. All right, we do want to mention our sponsors again, All Pro Construction Builders, You Break Wheel Fix. We'll have a podcast here later this evening, likely with Greg, Brady, and Alex. We'll jump on there. We'll have full coverage tomorrow. We got Sean Rochester invading Boston tomorrow. We do mention Prize Picks. Use the code 5 FIVE. Get the initial deposit matched up to $100. Start playing, start winning. Just stop listening to me for a little while. I'm on a bad run right now. I mean, seriously, they handed us the taco with Bam yesterday, 14.5 points, and he didn't clear it. 13.5 points, and he didn't clear it. Just ended up with 10. But just to sum this thing up, okay? They didn't play well last night. They didn't have the requisite energy, in my view, required to close out a team, even if it's a team that seemed to be one to send on vacation. Boston has very good players. Yes. This next game could be very problematic, okay? It feels like they're being set up for a blowout, and we haven't seen one of those in a while. They still can win the series. I still believe at this point. I didn't pick them before the series. I said it would go 7. But at this point, I think they're going to close it out here eventually. Okay, again, I didn't see anything last night that made me think, all right, they can't handle the Celtics. They can. They have. They will. It just might not happen in the next game. That's all. That's all. This may all come down to that game 6. And look, the Knicks series came down to that, and we saw what the Heat did. They finished them off. Okay, so that just may be what's required this time around. And if it is, well, Mickey and Harrison's get another home game. So T-shirts this time, please. Towels were better last night. But people go to these games expecting T-shirts. Randy, Heat win when Sean is in the building. That is true, actually. And Sean usually has the best, they're leaving early video. So follow our guy, S. Rochester, NBA. He'll be at the game tomorrow night. If there's a game 7, I'm warning you, I already have a hotel up there. But I don't know if I'll do that to Heat fans. All right, have a good day, everybody. Thanks to Manny for producing.